Today, I'm going to walk you through an easy guide of how to upgrade your firmware for the EdgeFlyte 1U CubeSat and ground station. What you'll need today is your ground station, an 8601 version, and the main control board for your CubeSat. Let's start with the main control board. To get started with upgrading the firmware of the main control board, you are going to need a micro USB cable. I've already inserted it into the laptop that we're going to be using to upgrade the firmware. Hold down the boot select button on the main control board, the Raspberry Pi Pico, and insert the USB micro cable. From there, it will enter boot mode. Boot mode will automatically be detected on the computer, and it will pop up something like RPI-RP2. Now, on your software, go to the top 3 bars on the right, select Update Center, and from there you'll see 2 options currently available. Select the one that fits the best. Right now we're going to be using the 1001 MCB. The latest firmware is version 2.1.1. Now it's going to say that it's waiting for the device. Since we're already in bootloader mode, we're just going to go ahead and skip this step and hit Device Already in Bootloader Mode. From there, it will show us what drives are currently available. We'll select the one, if it's not already selected, as RPI-RP2. Go ahead and press the Begin Firmware Update button, and you'll automatically be updating your firmware. Upon completion, your main control board will make a slight tone, indicating the new firmware is currently active. Next, we'll move on to the ground station. Next, we'll update the firmware of the 8601 ground station. To do this, you're going to need a USB-C cable. Plug one end into the ground station and the other end into the computer. Then, on the computer, we'll go the same process that we just did. On your CubeSat ground terminal, open the 3-bar menu on the right, select Update Center, and then from here, select the corresponding product. In this case, it's the CubeSat ground station 8601. And sometimes it'll already be in bootloader mode. The other times, you can enter bootloader mode. For this case, we're already in bootloader mode. Select the drive. It'll automatically detect one. If it needs changed, you can go ahead and change that here, and then begin the firmware update. From here, it'll flash the firmware onto the ground station and indicate with the buzzer that you just heard of the successful upload. Now, this is complete. We have updated the firmware on both the CubeSat main control board and the ground station. Now that we've completed the firmware update, we'll go ahead and slide it back into our CubeSat frame and actually test the connection. So, slide your main control board back in, connect it back with your battery management system and other supporting modules and boards that you may have. Go ahead and power it on, and we'll go ahead and connect the ground station again. Then, on the CubeSat ground terminal, once plugged into the ground station, it will automatically detect it and connect to it. From there, we're going to begin scanning for CubeSats. Now, if your CubeSat is on, it will detect it. Another cool feature about the CubeSat ground terminal is we can select specific dashboards based on what we're trying to do. This is custom configurable and capable of handling almost any configuration and any design. I'll show you an example here. With our main control board, we'll go ahead and insert the USB micro cable that we used previously. On our CubeSat ground terminal, it will automatically detect this as a USB connection. We'll take this USB connection, hit Select Dashboard, select the main control board SP26 parameters or any other corresponding dashboards, go back from this menu, and then go ahead and open the dashboard. From here, you'll see an actual configurations page for the main control board. To start configuring, we're going to go ahead and connect to the port, and we can go in here and hit the refresh button on specific parameters or parameter groups and see as it dynamically and rapidly updates all of those values for that configuration table. We can see our system version, our system statuses, and even our system settings. You can change your system settings like we'll do right here. So on the CFG_heartbeat parameter, also known as the code of 0x0104, we can go into this edit icon on the right and we can change this actual parameter. We'll change this to something like 500. This corresponds to milliseconds. Go ahead and press save, and now you'll see that the configuration heartbeat LED on the main control board, the Raspberry Pi Pico, is indeed flashing at a 2 Hz rate instead of the 1000 milliseconds that was just previously set. You can configure various parameters through this configuration software, such as radio configuration, either your data rates, your power levels, and other corresponding metrics such as those. You can configure your sensors or view sensor system information, and even your BMS and ASB boards too. This concludes the setup guide for updating firmware on your main control board and CubeSat ground station. Thank you for watching.